Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's May 15th, 2017. In the news today, a suspicious synagogue fire in New York City. We're going to talk about this. And also, the Washington Post says Donald Trump shared classified information with the Russians. Remember on the campaign trail, supposedly Hillary mishandled classified emails and Donald Trump was saying what an irresponsible person she was and how he would lock her up. It's all the show, people. Let's start with the synagogue fire. I find this story more interesting. Notice how they emphasize the word suspicious. When the mainstream media emphasizes a word or set of words, they're emphasizing a coded message in the language of gematria, which is a Jewish practice. And here we're talking about the burning of a Jewish synagogue in New York City, a very Jewish city. Gematria, it's related to Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism that has the foundational belief God created the world with language when he merged the letter with the number. So this is occult knowledge. Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. The word suspicious has gematria of 119, just like Orthodox. This is the burning of an Orthodox Jewish synagogue that's been closed for 10 years. We'll get to why that matters. 10. Very Old Testament-y, the Jewish part of the Bible. Star of David, the stolen symbol that's used for the Zionist nation of Israel, the nation of the false Jews. Star of David equals 119. Think about New York City, Manhattan, where the synagogue burned in September 11th, 11/9. All-seeing eye equals 119. Master plan 119. The Jewish holy day to remember the destruction of the two temples is Tisha B'Av. You never seen my work on 9/11 and Tisha B'Av? Check it out. In Jewish gematria, Star of David also sums to 1045. 0 doesn't count in this study, so that's the same as 145. This synagogue burned on May 14th, 14/5, after being closed for 10 years. This could be coincidental, but I just want to mention it. The word Catholic has gematria of 145. The false Jews are who created the Catholic Church once upon a time. Remember, Vatican equals 119, just like Francis. And for those of you who are new to the gematria calculator below, Vatican 119, Francis 119, the Catholic Church, again, created by false Jews once upon a time. So now here's where it gets good. Synagogue has gematria of 39. And all of these words, if you come to this calculator and type them in here, they will all sum to 39. New York 39, Empire 39, NY 39, NYC 39, and a million more things. George 39, Clinton 39, the first governor of New York, George Clinton, born in 1739. The name Madison is the only one where you got to pull out one more trick. The name Madison with the single reduction method is 39. That's where S is worth 10 instead of 1. It's because S is the 19th letter, and numerology, 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. S, the only letter you have to reduce 2 times to get to a single digit out of the 26-letter English alphabet. So this news comes in May. May has the gematria of 39, and so is it when you write out 10, it sums to 39. This synagogue closed for 10 years. In the Jewish part of the Bible, the Old Testament is 39 books. That's where the 10 commandments come from. James Madison made 39 proposals on June 8th, 1789 that became the 10 Bill of Rights. He made 39 proposals on a date with 39 numerology. You know why? Because James Madden was a false Jewish operative, if he wasn't one himself, which is who's always run this nation. This nation's always been run by false Jew banker tyrants, warmongers, liars, thieves, cheats. In the Talmud, which the false Jews go by, it says that the purpose of the non-Jews is to be a slave race. And do you know who's responsible for slavery? The false Jews. See, our whole history has been told by them, and they love to blame white and black and get the whites and blacks against each other. But really, it's always been the false Jew controlling the whole show, pitting the whole world against each other. It's bigger than whites and blacks. Dissing every single race on the planet. Asians, Hispanics, whites, blacks, pitting them all against each other, but then always reminding everybody, the one person you can't talk about is the Jews. That's anti-Semitic. Poor them and their fake Holocaust, which never happened. Did you know that in Jewish Zionist papers for more than 50 years before World War II, it was reported that 6 million Jews were killed? Nobody gave a fuck. You know why? Because nobody likes the false Jews, who are predominantly all the Jews that still exist. You know why? Because the original Jews were black people, and their identity's been stolen. And all the false Jews have been kicked out of every corner of the earth, and no one gives a fuck about them because they all know what a bunch of bitches they are. How could you not be a bunch of bitches when your belief is that you're the God's people sent here to benefit off the work of the slave masses? So anyway, the Jewish Zionists who love Jewish lightning, such as what this story is about, all throughout history, they've ruled the masses with lies. They've set up taxation without representation. They run our entire system. It's why we all pay taxes. It's why there's a rich investor class that rules over us that have never worked a day in their life. All of you who work enslaved, if you don't learn to fight back, just understand. You're contributing to the problems. You're keeping the Jewish tyrants in power. You're selling out your future generations. Everyone who thinks they need to work to put food on the table, you're wrong. What you need to do is do exactly what I'm doing. Figuring out how to stop supporting the system, speak out, and shut it down. If the whole nation was doing what I was doing, it'd be over for the Zionists. The whole game would be over. Would have been over a long time ago. Would have been over the day September 11th, 2001 happened. Or the Tisha B'Av recreation. The destruction of the two temples. The destruction of the two towers. So anyway, 10 years later, after this closed synagogue, let me show you some more interesting synagogue gematria. 42, like Freemason, like Zionist. Or excuse me, am I tripping? Zionist is 41, it's Zionism that is 42. Freemason 42, Zionism 42. Special numbers. Freemason history based on the Old Testament. Jewish history, Solomon's Temple, which is part of the story of Tisha B'Av. Solomon's Temple and Herod's Temple are the two temples destroyed. Solomon's Temple equals 58, Herod's Temple 58, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Jerusalem 58, United States 58. Synagogue also has gematria of 114. Holocaust 114 means burnt animal sacrifice to the gods. The only reason they use that word is because of its gematria. World War equals 114. Pearl Harbor 114. History 114. Whose story? His story? It's the false Jew story we're living out, where you can talk shit about everybody but the false Jews themselves. Them you have to worship and send all your tax dollars to. Otherwise, they might send one of their goy agents to come knock on your door. See, if enough people said, fuck you, they wouldn't be able to do jack shit about it. You see? That's why we all need to wake up, and we need to take this world back. It's all that needs to be done. Imagine going on with your life and you didn't have to pay another day of taxes like they have it in other countries. Like Iran. In Iran, people don't pay taxes. We love to demonize that country over here. Over there, they have the mentality, why the fuck should I pay taxes? You know how the government collects money? By having taxes or by essentially controlling products. Oil, healthcare, so people spend their money, it goes back to the government. And you know what? Over in Iran, oil costs way less, healthcare costs way less. You see over here, it's all a bullshit story. You got all these dumb motherfuckers listening to the talking puppets on the TV going, oh, private industry, that's the way. What a fucking retard. How could private industry be the way? Do you understand how the private world works? Investor class, corporation. What's the objective of a corporation? To provide an investment or return to the investors. How do they do that? By ripping off all the people that they sell products and services to. You know, everyone over here is so fucking dumb in America. They don't know shit about shit. They run their mouths about everything. It's because it's a nation of Jewish bitches raised by the TV, which is controlled by the Zionist Jew. All you know is all the lies they ever taught you to fall into their scheme. Sorry, throughout the world where government runs shit, and I'm not saying I want it that way either, but all throughout this world there's a million examples of how government's way more efficient than the private sector. Over in Europe, government takes care of the cable. People in Europe pay $20 for internet and every channel there is in the world. What do we pay in America for that package? $400 a month? We do. People don't know shit in America. And you know why? Because the Jewish people wanted it that way. They want a nation of dumb fucking goy that will just go out and do their meaningless jobs and pay their taxes and be the slave race they were intended to be. And in America, for most people, that's just fine as long as they can watch their rigged ball game that the Zionist Jew also controls, always has. So here, a little more. Synagogue. Gematria of 129, just like the name of this synagogue. You know, gematria, the Jewish practice about linking names with matching coding. Name of the congregation, the name of the synagogue, the exact same as the word synagogue, the same as New York City, and also the same as America and Jewish gematria. Again, the Jewish nation. Remember, most firefighters are sold-out punks, all part of their Masonic lodges. A lot of these firefighters even set the fires that they put out. And I bet you anything, the fire department, whichever corrupt assholes were in it, set this fire. Guarantee you. In fact, I guarantee you this fire was set by the firefighters. 100%. So many corrupt firefighters on 9/11 helped selling us out for the Zionist Jew. So notice they say it's a 3-alarm fire. 3-alarm fire. Got a nice ring to it. 3-alarm fire like 139, like Freemasonry, like America, like Jewish state, like Westworld. Made by a Jewish writer. You know? If you haven't seen Westworld, it's about people who don't realize the true purpose of their existence. Like the people of America. The born slaves, lied to, all pumped up to be full of themselves, just fall into the hands of their creators, which is the synagogue of Satan, as they're called in the Bible. And they love that title. They code it into everything they do. 3-alarm fire also has the gematria 239, favorite number of the Jews, the U.S. flag sewn at 239 Arch Street. Right now the flag's 239 years old. Torah equals 239, just like Golden Gate. Torah is the decent Jewish holy book. The Talmud's the evil one, which pretty much all Jews go by now. Why? Because it's the false Jews. There's not many real Jews who even realize that they are Jews around. You want to know something about U.S. history? Declassified information about 2 years ago, and this might be all bullshit by the numbers, but it was a story put out 2 years ago, which I covered. Supposedly, 239 chemical weapons tests were performed against the populations of the U.S., major cities all throughout the nation, done in low doses, sprayed from Navy vessels at sea, done by airplanes above the city. Really, 239 chemical weapons tests over 3 decades' time in the U.S. Again, you guys, we're nothing but a slave state, guinea pig state. How do you think science got so advanced with humanity? You know? Experiments have been done against people for a long time. You know, most people in America, they only learned to circle C for Christopher Columbus and don't know jack shit about anything else in this world. Christopher Columbus, who was Jewish and paid for by the Catholic Church, you know, with his big old schnoz, like Pinocchio. Anyway, that story, they said that the first of the 239 chemical weapons tests was performed at the Golden Gate Bridge. They don't tell you gematria in that story, but I do. So, a few more. This is big news today, May 15th, 2017, date with 57 numerology. Jews equal 57. Jews control the media. The most Jewish branch of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, which is also the branch that dominates this nation, the Scottish Rite 57. New York City. Some people call it Jew York City. Gematria 57. In baseball, Mets equals 57. World Series equals 57. In all New York Super Bowl wins, it comes back to 39. The Jets have won 1 time, the Giants 4 times. Every single win comes back to 39. Remember when A-Rod retired? See my video on it. There's a lot of 39, but they put him at third base for 1 out in the 9th inning in his final game as a Yankee. Third base, 1 out in the 9th. The G-Min 39. Every New York Super Bowl, because every pro sports game in the history of this very Jewish, deceptive nation has been rigged and scripted before the seasons even began. The whole time. You know, people can't... That's what I hate about Americans. I just can't believe that. I just can't believe that. Stop believing and start thinking, you dumb motherfuckers. 9/11, you can't believe that your government would do that to you. You don't even know what the fucking word government means. It means mind control. That's what government means, mind control. You can't believe your government would stage something to fuck you up your ass, what these Jewish Zionists are into? Oh, God. You can't believe that they'd rigged the sports game? I mean, come on. It's not even hard to understand why. Watch Ken Burns. Ken Burns, he's got all his free documentaries on Netflix. Ken Burns Baseball. Says it clear as day. The early days of baseball, the first professional sports league, every game was a conspiracy rigged to create excitement so people would have interest. Then the clever guy goes, well, what about blowouts? Well, what do you think, you dumb fucking moron? I got to talk to you somebody like this because this is what you are. I'm trying to help you activate your brain. Why do you think some games are blowouts? So exactly you'll ask that question. You know, to create this feel of authenticity. The Zionist Jew rules over the little simple goy mind so easily. The dumb little goy. That's the word for you. They call you goy. It means lesser. So here we go. Congregation Beth Hamedrash. Gematria 435. This is fun because the triangular number of that is 29. And let's do this. Jewish 29, Masonic 29, Fire 29, Manhattan. Not a coincidence. This is the language. Congregation Beth Hamedrash Synagogue. If I add the word synagogue, which it's also, I was just reading the different reporting the way the name said. Gematria of 168, just like New York City where it is. Congregation Beth Hamedrash Synagogue also sums to 165. And what I forgot to put up here, which I can just show you right now, is Scottish Rite has Gematria of 165. The very Jewish branch. Jewish Lightning itself has Gematria of 84, like United States of America. Jewish Lightning, known practiced by the false Jews, setting fires, blaming it on an act of God so they can collect a little insurance money. In this town I live in, there was just some Jewish lightning in a very major way, right across the street from the Freemason Lodge. And I got to tell you, a police officer tipped me off that he knows that that's corruption. I was actually advised by a police officer that maybe I should expose that in the community. This police officer won me over a little bit. But you know why I haven't? Because then you might read about me in the obituaries. That's a little too close to home. So anyway, this stuff goes on all over the place. I covered it in Seattle, which isn't too far from me, last spring. Little Jewish lightning in the north end of Seattle, where they're now building some new real estate. So anyway, Jewish lightning, Gematria of 174, like Number of the Beast, like New World Order. I noticed that the name of this synagogue is also this, which has Gematria of 174. This synagogue going down Jewish lightning. You know? How amazing. How amazing. Or not. Just another day of Jewish news by the numbers. Jewish corruption by the numbers. I've been doing a little research on the Jewish people, and I've learned that there's a lot of Jewish people who are aware that they've been lied to, even about their own history. I guess a long time ago, there's a Jewish book that's been left out of their texts about how the Messiah did return. For any of you Jewish people not aware of that, go look it up. I'm talking about it in my book. Book covers a lot of things that's coming out. This game needs to be over. And I'm sick of the phrase anti-Semitism. I want to get rid of it, along with all of this Zionist filth. once and for all. All of us should be talking shit about this because these people have been fucking us all in our asses for a long time. People have been too cowardly to call out what's so obvious. New movie every 6 months about the Holocaust. Who gives a fuck? What about everyone else's suffering? Where's the movie about the native genocide by the Jews in this country? Where's the movie about the Jewish genocide in Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution? Instead, they give you the one about the genocide that never happened. The 6 million fictitious Jews. And I already hear somebody out there, I know a Holocaust survivor. Yeah, you do, moron. Because they weren't killed, because it never happened. Prison camps and executions a big difference. Here in the U.S., Japanese were interned. A lot of Japanese died from starvation and scurvy, which are the only documented deaths of Jewish people in any German camps in the history of the war. The rest is all lies from the Nuremberg trials. So anyway, this synagogue, this name here also has the gematria of 93. Again, 39, 93 reflections of each other. One World Trade Center has the gematria of 93. Think about the 93 World Trade Center bombing. They blamed it on the blind sheik, little Jewish joke in gematria 93. Let me see if I can remember this right. Is it this? It is. Twin Towers is 104. They built the new One World Trade Center, 93, 104 stories tall. Check out the gematria of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, 104, with the USA right in the middle. You see? Check out the date numerology of July 4th, 1776. 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 is 104. 7 plus 4, 11, plus 17, 28, plus 76, 104. Welcome to New Jerusalem. Look at the gematria of United States. 58. Just like Jerusalem. 58. Just like Freemasonry. 58. Just like Secret Society. 58. Just like Solomon's Temple. 58. Just like Herod's Temple. 58. You know where the checkerboard pattern comes from? Hold on, Truth Seeker. Checkerboard has the gematria of 93 and 57 like Jews. Checkerboard floor also has the 93. Oh, I know what it is that I'm missing. It's chessboard. Chessboard 58. And how many spaces on the chessboard? How many spaces? 64. Like Israel, 64. Like Zion, 64. Like Thelema, 64. Synagogue of Satan, the name given to the false Jews in Revelation. Synagogue of Satan, 64. Israel, the home of the Synagogue of Satan. The motto in Thelema, 64. Thelema, the occult religion that worships 93. Everything about Israel is 93, the number for Saturn, the keeper of time. Israel was drawn up on September 3rd. The name of this synagogue that burned, also gematria of 96, like New York City Synagogue, like Freemason, like Never Again, the Holocaust motto. And for the record, the Holocaust began in 42. Holocaust has gematria of 42. You see? The divisors of 42 sum to 96. Holocaust also has the gematria of 129. You know, we just covered that one earlier. Part of the name of this synagogue that burned, like supposedly the Jews. That evil Hitler. Did you know that Hitler closed down the Masonic lodges in Germany because he said that's where all the Jews were conspiring against the people? He said all the Jews were meeting in the lodges with no windows, and that's where they were making their plans to fuck over the populace. Hello, people! And it wasn't the first time that happened in the world. That happened in many other countries many times before. You see what the Jews did? At that point in history, they had enough of a stranglehold on the world that they could finally sell all their lies to stop from people from understanding their agenda. You know? Few more here. We're almost done. We're almost done. Norfolk Street is where this synagogue was. Norfolk Street. Gematria of 74, like Jewish, like Masonic. New York on the 74th meridian. Remember, Jesus equals 74, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Jesus crucified at 33. And again, let's just go here. Crucifix 93, Nazareth 93, God's sun, 93. They say the sun is 93 million miles away. To the occult, Saturn is the keeper of time. Jesus equals 74, like cross. And I just want you to think about the World Trade Centers. They were 33 years old. Check this out. Solomon's Temple equals 68. Solomon's Temple, 68. In 1968, World Trade Center construction began. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 33 years later, he became president. 9/11 happened. From Bush's birthday to 9/11, September 11th, is a span of 68 days. His father was head of the CIA, 68. Look at the name George W. Bush, 58. Like Solomon's Temple, like Freemasonry, he's part of the Masonic Order, Skull and Bones. George W. Bush, also 130, like Washington, and Washington itself is 58 as well. With regards to the news being today, May 15th, 15/5, Christianity is 155. You know? The synagogue burned. The news on the Christian day. To the Zionist Jews who run the papers, you know, probably some tribute to Hitler and their fiction to help them catapult their world agenda. Hitler's another character all by the numbers. I have enough videos on it already, so I won't bore you to death for all of you who watch everything. One more piece of news. We got Donald Trump, the first Jewish president. See if you can appreciate this here. Look at the gematria of Trump, 88 and 47. Check out the word Jewish, 74 and 88. The Zionist nation of Israel, recognized in 47 with a 33-member vote by the United Nations on the 333rd day of the year. The Freemasons have the 47th problem of Euclid, which equals 333. On the 333rd day of 47, the false Jew nation was created. You see? So check this out. May 15th, breaking news, Washington Post. Just real quick, I have to check the gematria of Washington Post. Okay, nothing to write home about that I see right now. Not a big deal. But anyway, the Washington Post, the first to break this information, report Trump shared classified info with Russians. The headline, Gematria of 213, Masonic tribute, a number that represents Nimrod the builder, Donald Trump, known for being, you know, businessman, real estate, a lot of towers in his honor. He announced that he was running for president from the 58-story Trump Tower. He won the 58th presidential election. He celebrated the 58th presidential inauguration on a date with 58 numerology, hiring the 58-year-old Steve Ray. I want to show you what today's news has to do with 58. They're saying he spilled this classified information. Think about how classified has to do with secrets. Nation run by Freemasons, and a language created by Freemasonry. Freemason 42, secret society, classified information, a government in Washington, D.C., a city named after the 33rd degree Freemason George Washington, the 42nd state, Washington, named in his honor. Anyway, classified as that gematria 42. Classified information, 104, like 10-4 message received. A lot of things interesting about the coding of classified information, but here's the kicker. From Inauguration Day, the 58th presidential inauguration ever, on the date with 58 numerology, where the cameras were focused on Ivanka the whole time, Ivanka 58. From that day to today, May 15th, is 115 days. Trump took office with the 115th Congress, and look at this. When you write out 58, it sums to 115. When you write out Steve Ray, the 58-year-old who did the ceremonies, it equals 115. Trump went on a thank you tour. I mean, what the fuck was that? Thank you, 115. Also, when you write out 58, it sums to 155. Where are we? It's May 15th, 15/5. This could be the news that dooms the Trumpster, the dumpster, the chumpster. Do you know where Donald Trump's going to be on May 23rd, the date that I've been talking about for more than a year? He's going to be in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. The winner of the 58th presidential election is going to be in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day, May 23rd. And then the next day, the 144th day of the year, he's going to be with the Jesuit order and Pope Francis at the Vatican. You know what I mean? So anyway, been talking about these dates, these connections between Trump and the Jesuits and the Jews, and understand it's all connected. The Jesuits, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church created by the false Jews once upon a time. So anyway, it's just all news by the numbers. And also I want to point out that with regards to classified, Russia has Gematria 42. Russia, another red, white, and blue Freemason nation. The result of another Jewish genocide, just like the United States of America. See how it works? Jewish people go genocide the people there, create their new race, raised under the Jewish knowledge, the Jewish religions, the Jewish news, the Jewish schools. You see how it works? And then what do? They pit these nations against each other when it should be so obvious that they're all in bed together. Russia and the United States, science, nuclear, space, Cold Wars. It's all fear and control. Fear and control by the numbers. So yeah, we hit it all, Truth Seeker. Maybe the rants were a little too vicious, a little too long. Maybe YouTube's going to strike me again. You just never know. But some things need to be said because they haven't been said for long enough and they haven't been said by enough people. And I'm trying to inspire people to realize that it's time to speak out. You really have been lied to and fucked in your ass. And if you're too dumb to know better, it's time to wise up. You know? Because rolling around with Jewish dicks up your ass, it's not any kind of fashion statement. It's not good for your health. Yeah, we covered it all, Truth Seeker. Until next time.